Have you ever noticed that the smartest person in the room is not always the loudest? Most people think high intelligence looks obvious. They imagine someone quick with words, highly confident, constantly impressive, always ready with an answer. But in real life, intelligence often hides behind behaviors that look ordinary, awkward, or even misunderstood. In fact, some of the clearest signs of a very sharp mind are the exact traits people tend to judge the wrong way. Psychology has long suggested that intelligence is not just about how much information a person holds. It is also about how they process uncertainty, how they respond to complexity, and what their mind does when no one is paying attention. And that creates a strange pattern, because some highly intelligent people do not look impressive at first. They look quiet. They look distracted. They look overly thoughtful. They look like they are somewhere else. But if you pay attention, certain habits start to appear. And once you notice them, it becomes hard to unsee. The first sign is that they often pull away from noise. Highly intelligent people are usually not avoiding people because they hate people. More often, they're protecting mental space. Their mind is already busy. It's processing conversations, ideas, possibilities, patterns, inconsistencies. So constant stimulation can feel less exciting and more exhausting. To other people, this can look antisocial, but sometimes it's simply a brain choosing depth over constant input. The second sign is that they ask questions other people do not think to ask. Not just big, dramatic questions about life, but small, almost annoying ones. Why is this system built that way? Why do people repeat the same behavior even when it hurts them? Why do certain social rules exist if no one really believes them? Highly intelligent people tend to be mentally restless. Their brain keeps pulling at loose threads. They're not always trying to challenge people. Often, they genuinely cannot stop looking for what's underneath the surface. The third sign is that they're comfortable pausing before they speak. A lot of people mistake quick replies for intelligence, but fast answers and deep thinking are not always the same thing. Some very intelligent people do something different. They hesitate, they watch, they listen longer than expected. And the reason is simple. While everyone else is reacting, they're comparing interpretations. They're not just hearing words, they're reading tone, context, motive, contradiction, emotional subtext. By the time they speak, they're often responding to more than what was said out loud. The fourth sign is that they can say, "I'm not sure." This is one of the most underrated signs of real intelligence. People with shallow understanding often rush towards certainty because certainty feels powerful. But highly intelligent people tend to see how complex things really are. The more they understand, the more clearly they see what they don't know. That doesn't make them weak, it makes them accurate. And in a world that rewards confidence over nuance, accuracy can look strangely unimpressive at first. The fifth sign is overanalysis. Yes, sometimes highly intelligent people think too much. They replay conversations, they examine decisions from 5 different angles, they imagine outcomes before they happen. They notice tiny signals that others miss. This can make them seem indecisive, but inside, something else is happening. Their mind is building models, it's testing possibilities, it's trying to predict consequences before making a move. That same mental depth that helps them understand complex problems can also make simple things harder to turn off. The sixth sign is unusual humor. There's a kind of humor that depends on surprise, timing, pattern breaking, and seeing connections between things that don't seem related. Highly intelligent people often lean towards that style naturally. Sometimes their jokes are subtle. Sometimes they're so dry that half the room misses them. Sometimes they notice absurdity where other people see nothing. And that matters because humor is not just entertainment, it often reveals how a mind connects ideas. The seventh sign is that they change their minds without feeling humiliated. For many people, changing a belief feels like losing. It feels personal. But highly intelligent people are often more willing to update their view when new evidence appears. They don't always attach their ego to being right. They're more interested in getting closer to truth than protecting an old opinion. That kind of flexibility is rare, and ironically, it can make them look less certain, even while they're thinking more clearly than everyone else. The eighth sign is that they notice things nobody comments on. A shift in someone's mood, a contradiction in a story, a social pattern in a group, a detail in language that reveals insecurity, a strange silence after a certain sentence. Highly intelligent people are often strong observers. They pick up subtle information and store it before speaking. This is why some of them seem quiet in groups. They're not blank, they're collecting data. The ninth sign is that their mind gets louder at night. When the world becomes quieter, some minds become more active. Ideas return, questions deepen, unfinished thoughts start connecting. For highly intelligent people, nighttime can feel less like rest and more like mental open space. That's when reflections appear. That's when patterns click. That's when the mind starts wandering into bigger questions most people keep buried under daily noise. And the 10th sign may be the most revealing of all. They keep searching for meaning. Not attention, not appearances, not just achievement, meaning. Highly intelligent people often feel an unusual tension with shallow routines. They can participate in ordinary life, but part of them keeps asking a deeper question. What is actually true here? What matters? Why do people live the way they do? Why do so many follow scripts they never chose? This constant search doesn't always make life easier. Sometimes it makes life heavier. But it also gives their thinking a depth that's hard to fake. And that may be why intelligence is so often misunderstood. Because it doesn't always look polished. It doesn't always look confident. It doesn't always look social, expressive, or loud. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like distance. Sometimes it looks like someone who says very little because they're noticing far more than they can explain in one moment. So the next time someone seems reserved, overly curious, slow to answer, or strangely thoughtful, don't assume there's nothing happening. There may be a mind at work that's doing far more than most people realize. And the strangest part is this. Some of the most intelligent people you'll ever meet will never try to prove it to you. Because while others are busy being seen as smart, they're busy trying to understand the world.